Hey students, Mr. Roberts back. We are going to be looking at 7.3b, solving equations with multiplication and division. Again, this is day 2 of this. So on last Thursday, we talked about these things right here, and we are going to continue talking about it today. Hopefully you guys had a good long weekend. That was a 4-day weekend for you, but hopefully you did not forget that we're studying about one-step equations, and so let's get into your bell work and get going with this lesson. Okay, so here is your bell work. This should be fairly simple. There's only a couple of questions on here. So it says use substitution to check. Well, we could, again, we're going to go back. This is a good review. This is what we actually talked about last week, is that we want to get that variable by itself, so we're going to do inverse operation. Leaves us with x here. We are going to add 2.5 here. We get 13, 10.3. So x is 10.3. So we can now take that 10.3 and put it right here and subtract 2.5. So let's do that. 10.3 minus 2.5, and I didn't have my calculator on. 10.3 minus 2.5, and we get 7.8. So we know that we got this correct. Okay, let's move on to the second one here. Here we're talking about integers opposite now absolute value. So it gives us 100, and we've done this, but it's been a little while since we've done problems like this. The opposite of negative 100 is 100. And the absolute value of negative 100 is 100. Remember, absolute value, usually we use this. So if we had this absolute value, it would equal 100. Absolute value means how far away is it from 0. So negative 100 is 100 away from 0. So the opposite of negative 86, the integer would be 86, and the absolute value would be 86. Now we have 39. The opposite is negative 39, and the absolute value is 39. Pretty simple. Good review. Now we're going to go to number 3. It wants us to simplify this. Now we're going to use order of operations to simplify. So we go inside the parentheses first. It's a grouping. So if we're doing GEMDAs or PEMDAS, remember, we look at grouping, exponent, then multiply and divide, and then add and subtract. So we're looking in the grouping. We have some multiplication. We're going to do that first. 35 minus 9. So we have to do that first. So 35 minus 9 is 26. So everything in that grouping just turned into 26. Then we just bring everything else down for a moment. And you can see that we have an exponent. We did grouping. Exponent, this would be 4. Then we're going to just bring everything else down. And now we have multiplication. So we do the multiplication. Then we have the addition. So 26, that would be 38. So 38 is our answer for number 3. All right, there's your bell work. Hopefully those little reviews are helping you to kind of stay up on what we have learned this year. Let's look at at the next page. All right, so we're in your notes. So you look in your notes in the blue section. We're looking for this page. It says writing, solving equation, word problems. So let's look at number 1. Juan sells raffle tickets at a charity event for $6. How many tickets does he have to sell to make $114? And let T equal, I'm just looking at how this is set up. So this is what I would do. I would go 6 T equals 114. Okay, so I wrote the equation. Now I'm going to solve the equation. So I'm going to go like this, divide by 6, divide by 6. So 114 divided by 6 is 19. So we get 19 as our answer. So T tickets equals 19. And now it wants us to check with substitution. So I'm going to go 6 times 19. And I get 114, so I did it correct. All right, let's go on to number 2. The nonfiction section of the school library has 17 racks. If each rack holds 528 books, what is the total number of nonfiction books in the library? All right, so I think I figured this out a little bit more. The B stands for books. So I'm going to put that right here. Then it wants... Okay, so the equation for this one would be books divided by 17 equals 528. So I'm going to times by 17 here. And I guess we're solving the equation. I'm doing it before I'm supposed to. Then I have to times by 17 here. So we're going to go 528 divided by, or times 17, and we get the answer 8,976. Now, if I take that number and plug it back in for B and do 8,976 divided by 17, I should get 528. And I do. So there is my answer. So 8,976 is the total number of books in the library. Okay, so on this one, S is going to represent money that she needs to get. So we're going to put money. And our equation would be, well, we know that the tablet is $70. She has $35. So 35 plus S is going to give me 70. So if we're going to solve this equation, 35 plus S equals 70, we know that we have to subtract 35 from both sides. There's our railroad track, and that gives us 35 here. And we have the S right here. So 35 plus 35 is 70. So I just checked it with our substitution. All right. All right, on this last one, Pete scored 4 fewer points in the second game than he scored in his first game. He scored 12 points in the second game. How many points did he score in the first game? And P is going to be points, so we'll just put points there. And I'm going to put P, fewer means minus, so P minus 4, because it's 4 fewer, equals 12. Now, let's rewrite that equation. So I wrote the equation. So P minus 4 equals 12. I'll rewrite it there so we can solve it. There's our railroad track. I'm going to add 4. I get 16. So P equals 16. If I plug the 16 back in there, 16 minus 4 equals 12. So I got that correct. There's your notes. Let's move on. All right, so here's your practice. We are going to... I'm going to do the odds. You're going to do the even. So I'm going to do this first one. And again, this is our second day of kind of doing this. So we're going to, hopefully it's a review. So what is the inverse operation of 6 times A? Well, divide by 6. Goodbye. And we're going to divide what we do on one side of the equation, we always do to the other. And we get 8. What is 6 times 8? If I plug the 8 back in for A, I get 48. So I did it correctly. Let's look at number 2. Oh, you know what? There's that C divided by 4. Okay, well, if it gives you a division symbol like that, I would rather it. I wish it would have done this. C divided by 4 equals 32. That's what I wish, but you don't always get what you want, especially in math, huh? Sometimes we just have to deal with what we have. So if I am dividing something by 4, how do I get rid of it? I'm going to multiply by 4. So I'm just going to show that by doing that. That goes away, left with C. And I have to divide times by 4 on this side also. So 32 times 4 is 128. So if I take 128 and divide it by 4, I should get 32. Let's see. 128 divided by 4 equals, yep, 32. So I know I did it correctly. I substituted the 128 in for the C and did it. Okay. See, this one has it written the way that I think it should be. So it says S is being divided by 20 to equal 7. Well, draw my railroad track. I'm going to times by 20 here, times by 20 here, This goes away, and I am left with S. So 20 times 7 is 140. If I do 140 divided by 20, is it 7? It is. So there we go on that one. All right. I would like you to do number 4 on your own. So give it a try. Hit pause now. Try it. All right. Did you get 3? B equals 3? Yeah, that's the correct answer. Congratulations if you were getting these correct. All right. Let's see if you can do number 5 on your own now. All right, on number 5, did you get A equals P? If you did it correct. Good job. All right, let's see if you can do number 6 on your own. All right, on number 6, did you get B equals 9? If you did, congratulations, you're doing the right thing. All right, on we go. Ooh, do you think you can try number 7? Let's see if you can do this one on your own. All right, did you get V equals 32? Let's walk through this one and kind of analyze what we did here. So I had a number V divided by 2 equals 16. This is division, so I multiplied by 2 to get rid of it, and that left me with V. And then what I did on this side, I also have to do on this side. Now again, I want to point out that if I have 2V, like if we were to write this out and not take our little shortcuts, we would have 2 over 1 times V over 2. And 2V is 2V, and 1 times 2 is 2. 2 over 2 is 1, so 1V is V. That's how that works. So I know that was a big hang up for me when I was in 6th grade, because my teacher never showed me this part of it. They never showed me, oh, well, this is why it works. We're using some properties of multiplication to make this work. They just said, do it. And it never made sense to me, and so I was always kind of confused. So I don't want you to feel confused, because I know some of you are probably asking, well, why does this work? Why is this happening? Why does this, when I do this, what do we get do they cancel out? And that's the exact reason why. I'll point that out on this one too. So I'm going to start always with my railroad track. This is 13 times X. Well, I know that dot, sometimes we use it, but usually in algebra it's gone. It's just 13x, but it's still times. So to undo the times, or the multiplication, we divide. And what is 13 over 13? Well, 1. We have 1x. So what is 1x? We write it in algebra as just x. So that's why that all works out. Now we are going to divide by 13 here. So if I go 84.5 divided by 13, I get 6.5. Is it okay to get a decimal in these? Absolutely. So if I take 13 and times it by 6.5, it should be 84.5. And it is, so I know I have the correct answer. There we go. Number 9, again, there's a division here. So when we divide, we want to multiply to undo it. So we're going to multiply by 5. And we're left with G. Multiply by 5. I get 150. And 150 divided by 5 is 30. So I know I did that one correct. Okay, decimals and fractions all in one here, but we don't have to freak out about it. It's just the same thing. We follow the same strategy. Railroad track. This says C divided by 2.1. To undo that division, I'm going to multiply. That goes away. I'm going to multiply by 2.1 here. So I'm going to go 3.2 times 2.1. And I get C equals 6 72/100. Yeah, we're dealing with some decimals. Don't have to freak out. So I'm going to take 6 72/100 and divide it by 2.1, and I get 3.2, and that lets me know that I did this correct. All right, let's look at your assignment. All right, guys, I'm looking at the assignment right here. We start out number 1, 2, and 3. We are just doing what we did on the practice side. Then we get down to the rest of the questions, and it is asking us to turn number sentence or sentences into equations, and in some cases it wants us to turn some word problems into equations. Now guys, I know some of you don't do very well with this, but remember, we've been talking about multiplication and division here. So that's what's going to be on here. So that you know that everything on here is going to be multiply and divide. So use that to help you to do this. And we'll probably end up doing a couple or a few of these in class. But I want you to give this a shot and try to do as many of these as you possibly can. All right, guys, good luck.